Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Straightforward Farming Podcast. I'm your host, Tony Reed, finally alongside Mr. Nick McCormick.
We're back.
It's been, many Christmas. I don't know how long it's been. I have to go back.
Too long. Yeah. Too long.
Long time. So we're finally back in the studio, going to try to hammer some podcasts out for you guys and see if we can't bore you to death when you're driving down the road. So
we'd have been back sooner, but in true Gleaner Studios fashion, we were down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But all the lights are off now. We're ready to roll.
Oh, yeah. We are turning and burning now. So did you have a good Christmas?
Yes. Had a really good Christmas. You?
Yeah, same here. Things went well, and kids got everything they wanted, and now we're just into the doldrums of winter.
Yeah, no doubt. Christmas on a weekend like that's a little odd, and the fact that it was like 65 degrees, it didn't really feel like Christmas. But
no, and Kevin and I were talking about that. We ended up farming all the way up till 2 weeks before Christmas. It didn't seem like it was Christmas to me.
We moved machinery and rearranged the sheds today.
Yeah.
I've never done that in the end of December.
Yeah, we crazy.
Swapped all the fall stuff out for spring stuff because we've done some work in the shed and reorg stuff, and just normally it's not conducive to doing that, but this year it was. So
yeah, we were hauling grain all day today and standing outside in a sweatshirt and was almost sweating.
Yeah, so, no doubt.
Yeah, I'll take it though. I mean, we do need some cold weather to get rid of some of this compaction, but yet I'll take the warm weather too, I guess.
I need a cold snap to kill bugs. I'm not a mosquito or a fly fan or any of that stuff. So whatever it takes to kill those off is just fine with me.
Nope. Same here. So how you setting on inputs for 22? We got I don't know, 3/4 of our anhydrous on, roughly thereabouts. So we bought that at $8.40. Now it's going to jump to $15.25.
Yeah. So then what do you do on that?
Right.
We got most of ours on, but not all of it. And it's like, what do you do?
I'm not prepaying it. I'm going to roll the dice.
My thing is, good and well, the retailers are going to claim they bought it at that, and they're not going to let it go down.
Yeah.
Till side dress time, maybe.
Right.
I want a side dress about as bad as I want you to stomp on my foot with a hammer.
I know. I've just never done the side dressing gig. It would work on half our farms, and the other half it wouldn't.
Yeah, you run over more than you. It just doesn't work on some of our stuff. The one farm I do have left, it would work on there probably, maybe, kind of, sort of. It's square-ish, but still, I'm not really interested in doing it.
Right. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess luckily we got the bulk of it bought at the cheap price.
Cheap price of double last year. Yep.
Exactly. So, I don't know. We'll just have to see what happens, but I don't look for it to go down a whole lot. I'm like you. I think it's going to.
No, it just seemed like everything got higher, seed, chemical, fertilizer, the whole nine, it's.
Yeah. And, I mean, luckily we got the grain markets are bouncing back a little now. Yeah. So, that helps. I mean.
It does, but we always pay for that in the end. Like, stuff was finally starting to come down. Like, I was looking for it to just kind of level off and stay in that range. It had been fine.
Yeah.
But, one goes up, the other does too.
Yeah. 21 was a good year as far as we bought cheap inputs, had good yields. By then, prices had rebound.
Yeah.
And it made for a good year farming, but boy, we're going to give her all back.
Give her all back. You got it for a little bit here, and about 3 more days, you won't have any of it left.
Yep. If I was 65, that'd be a good time to just hang her out.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
Call her quits.
Yeah. You don't want to do that till you're 95.
Well, we got
no reason to quit at 65.
That's right. Got to keep the other generation shut out for sure. So I don't know. Got the big Louisville tractor pull coming up here in a few months, I guess.
Coming up here in February.
And
we're in Thursday night.
So you are going to pull down there.
Yep, we'll be down there. I should be down there most of the week, as far as I know. So
I think the verdict's still out on when me and the wife are going to go. For sure, Friday and Saturday. I don't think we'll end up making it the 2 nights before, just with the kids and whatnot. So it looks like it'll be Friday and Saturday night for sure. So, but they didn't have that last year, right? Nope.
No.
So
no.
Could potentially be a pretty good turnout this year.
Oh, I'm sure there will be. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think people are ready to get back after it, and yeah. It'll be a good show.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, should be exciting. Should be a big farm talk crowd there, and
it sounds like it's going to be a lot of people there from about all over the U.S. I mean, I've talked to guys from Oregon, Washington, everywhere. So I think
what amazes me, and it gives me a little faith in humanity. I haven't talked to a single person through TikTok, Farm Talk, podcast, whatever social media platform is directed to, has brought us together. That's just not a plus guy.
I'm the same way.
And it's awesome.
Right.
And like I said, it gives you a little bit of faith back in humanity or whatever, because and you and I have talked about this before. At some point in time, it's almost easier to talk to someone that's a little bit further away because you can bounce some ideas off of them or whatever, knowing that the backside's not going to, they're not going to try to stab you in the back and, get this piece of ground or do whatever it is,
Yeah.
Sneak in and buy this tractor that you're dealing on, whatever it is, and whatnot. But I made a lot of really, really good friends off of that deal, and I'm very, very thankful for that. It's been a really awesome experience.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see the kind of response you get down there. I mean, you've been pulling down there for several years, but now a lot more people.
Well, now I'm just known as Tony Reed's friend.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. When I go to a tractor pull now, I'm like, hey, you're that guy that knows Tony Reed. Yeah, been tractor pulling for 30 years. Nobody knew who I was, but now that they know I'm your friend, it's a big deal. So.
Can we put my picture on the side of your tractor?
We
Would
might
that
as
help?
well. We might as well. I'm going to put a big flag up that says, I know Tony Reed over here. So, but then I just have to ask questions. Where's he at? I'm like, well, he's at home.
Exactly. Yeah. It is weird though, when you go places now after being on social media, even if I get 100 miles from home, it's still common to run into somebody that recognizes you from TikTok or wherever. And I'm curious to see at the farm show how that all works. Because, you're going to take basically everybody that's on Farm Talk and put them all in one spot.
Put them all in one spot just over Christmas. I was talking to my cousin. She's like, well, I didn't know you were famous. I'm like, I'm not famous. Notorious, maybe. Infamous, whatever you want to call it. But she's like, well, my son just said that you're that guy on TikTok and this, that, and the other or whatever. I'm like, yeah, some, but I'm basically just Tony's friend. So they knew you more than me or whatever, even though we're related and I see them,
right.
6 times a year.
Right.
They only recognize me from the internet. So
it's
apparently they hadn't been paying that much attention at the last 25 family gatherings, but here I am. Funny how life works that way.
It is. It's plumb crazy. No, I think that Louisville deal, it's going to be a good time, I think.
Yeah, it'll be a good
Sounds like
time.
a lot of people coming. And hopefully don't get too out of hand and too rowdy and whatnot. I think most guys.
Speak for yourself. I look forward to that part. Louisville's the one time of year that reminds me that I'm not as young as I used to be, but man, I like to give it the old college try.
Yep, that ain't no kidding.
For one glorious week, I can usually put it together. Then I sleep pretty hard Sunday night, Monday night.
This will be the first time I've been there in at least 15 years, maybe longer. It's been a long time since I've been down there. So hopefully everything will go good. Everybody can get in. They don't shut it down due to COVID or nothing.
Oh, yeah, something down.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't snow. Usually it's pretty decent weather down there. So.
Yeah. Now, they canceled the big show over in Germany, didn't they, here a couple weeks ago? I think the Agritechnica.
I don't know,
That's
probably.
what I had heard, so.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. So hopefully Louisville ain't next on the hit list. I don't know. I think stuff's getting leveled out enough now. I think big events like that.
And you're far enough south that the rules are a little more lax, I guess is the word for it. A little more open.
Yeah. So, hopefully they won't put the clamps to it, which I guess even if they do, there's going to be a lot of guys going to a hotel down there.
Yeah, no doubt.
That part's already done.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And we all know what farm machinery looks like. The heck with that anyway.
Exactly.
Just go for the beer and the conversation.
Yeah, because I was telling some of the guys, there's a chance I may end up in Louisville and not even be at the farm show. I don't know. I mean, you just got to see how it goes.
I'll be honest with you. I don't walk the show a lot. Like I'll hit everything I need to touch base with pretty early on, Wednesday morning, whatever. And then I don't venture out of the show all that much.
Yep. I don't know that I've ever been there early in the show. I think even in high school when we went, we always done it on a weekend, So I don't think I've ever been down there on the day it opened or even Thursday.
What always cracks me up, it's like Saturday afternoon, it's 2 p.m, and cars are just wheeling in. People want to hit the show. I'm like, it's 2:00 on Saturday, people.
Right.
But, I think some of them just want a place indoors to walk.
Yeah, could be.
Something to see, walk around, whatever.
And of course, you always got the shoppers, the guys that want to go and lowball everybody because, you're just going to pack it up and take it home. I'll give you pennies on the dollar.
Deal, yeah. Save you the trouble. I'll take it with me. Or we're here for the free stuff.
Oh, yeah.
We got 6 cattle prods. The one year, some booth, I don't know, it was Fastline, Tractor House, who it was, give out these clicking deals. Every FFA kid in the world.
Oh, God.
I don't know if it was a chip clip or what it was, but it sounded like ducks barking all the way around the farm show. Just click, 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 click.
I'm the type, I don't grab any of that stuff. At any farm show, I don't carry it. I don't carry bags. None of that. I don't want any of it.
I learned that lesson the hard way when I was a kid. I grabbed a cattle prod at some point in time. They were giving them away, whatever it was. We didn't have cattle. I didn't need a cattle prod, but I had one because they were giving away. And that seemed like a great plan until we went to get in a taxi to go somewhere, and that thing was door to door. My parents were not thrilled about that cattle prod. I've never picked anything up since. Literature here and there, maybe. But I got the benefit of taking it out to the pulling trailer and throwing it in there, So.
Yeah, when we was kids, at the outdoor, at the farm progress shows, I remember yardsticks was a big one. I remember everybody carrying yardsticks around.
Yeah. There shouldn't be anything in this country that's not measured because they've given away enough free yardsticks to measure the whole world twice.
Yep. I remember one year even they got to giving away the big square peg. It was like probably a half or 3/4 inch square, but it was a yard, about like a walking stick.
Good ones, yeah.
Yep, them things was everywhere.
Yeah, they're a hot commodity. You can't hardly find those anymore.
No, you can't. Hell, just a regular yardstick. You can't even. No.
Yeah. Stupid metric system.
Yeah, no kidding. Exactly. Oh, heck. No, I don't know. It's 2021 was an interesting year.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking forward to 22 and seeing where things land. I mean,
yeah, you just got to keep on keeping on. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
everything's high, but I guess inputs are high and machinery's high. And
where do you think this machinery is going to stop? I mean, my God.
I got to think at some point in time there's an epic downturn. Like if the price of steel goes back down, we can do with stuff. Let's say steel's X number of dollars a ton. Well, if it goes down, like it should at some point, it goes down 20% or whatever. X minus. What are they going to do with the stuff that's sitting there? And now it's selling fast, and you can't hardly get it. And I've priced a few things out in the last month or so. You can't get any of it. It's not available. So they don't have it on the lots. They don't have it built, et cetera, et cetera.
I'd be nervous as a jockey with a bunch of used stuff.
Yes.
So Deere, is a big company. They can absorb some of that if the market turns the other way. I mean, not all of it.
And they can kind of sort of hold the market too, right? If they don't lower their prices, it's not going down.
Right, exactly. But boy, if you're a jockey, today a market will bear $200,000 for a 9330 John Deere tractor, and then things really start to turn south, and now it's only worth 150. That's
and companies have got backwards on that before. It starts going down, and dealers have stuff leveraged or whatever, and then they start having to pay money to make up the difference. They got a tractor that they've got $200,000 in that's now worth 150.
Right.
That they were planning on getting 225 to 250 for. Well, now they got to make that up to CNH or Deere Finance or whoever. That gets to be a big deal, and you get short line companies. Let's say you make box scrapers, and your box scrapers was $500, and now it's $700 because price of steel went up. Well, you built a bunch of them, and then you get hung with them because steel went down. Well, now XYZ company is making them, and they're selling them for $550 again.
Yep.
Not quite as low, but still lower than what you got $600 in yours because you're trying to sell them for $7 or $8.
Right.
Well, you can get sideways fast on that deal.
I've always thought too, Deere can control the market pretty well too. Let's just not build as many new combines to keep the value of the used stuff up, because even though they don't make any money on the used stuff, that still makes their product look better as a whole. It's got better resale. Well, yeah, if you're only
I think they ration new production on that for that exact reason.
Yeah. Yeah, I was talking to a guy about that one time, and he's like, well, what good does that do? They don't benefit off of the used stuff. I'm like, yeah, but it keeps the used stuff higher in value, and that's a big selling point,
Which they refinance for the next guy.
Yeah.
Through their finance company. And they're making good money through their finance company. And you can't switch around the other way, flood the market, and break your dealers.
Exactly. And hell, truth be known, and I'm not saying this is true, but it could be one of them deals where they make more money off of used equipment than they do new equipment. I don't know. I mean, I've heard of stranger things.
Well, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Like you say, when you throw in their financing and all that stuff where they're getting you for 4 or 5% interest and whatnot, why, that adds up in a hurry on a $300,000 tractor.
Well, exactly. I mean, there's a ton of companies, not even ag companies, but on into Sears, whoever, that they were a finance company that had this product, to a certain extent, and I'm not picking on Snap-on, but at some level, Snap-on is a finance company that happens to sell tools.
Sure.
You're not walking into a Harbor Freight and financing your U.S. General Toolbox and you're this and you're that and all your tools going in it.
Yep.
And I'm not picking on Snap-on for that. They got a great product. I got a lot of it. I love it. But they are also selling financing.
Sure. When did Deere and them companies start actually financing? I mean, did that go back to the 40s and 50s? I mean, or was that longer than that?
I don't know when all those companies got their own finance companies,
Or, well, yeah, I guess their own. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean,
a lot of stuff has been financed for a long time, but at some point in time, they brought it in-house as a separate entity, but all underneath the umbrella. And they're making money off that, and that's fine. It's the American way. But it is intriguing on how some of that goes down,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, their banking services would be as big as the machinery side. I mean, because all the machinery is getting run through the financial side.
Absolutely. I mean, you can buy your seed or anything through John Deere Financial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at one time they even offered insurance, didn't they?
Yes.
Back years ago. Or I don't know, maybe they still do. I don't know.
I think they sold that company, but I wouldn't swear to it. I think they sold their insurance off.
Did they?
And my memory's not as good as it should be. There was some big acquisition or some big game-changing thing they were doing at the time, and to free up capital, they canned the insurance thing off, I think. I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me on that. It's not gospel.
Yeah.
But I think they got out of the insurance game.
Yeah, and we was probably, in high school or there, or maybe even before that. It's been a long time ago.
It was probably, they probably didn't get out till we were out of high school. Yeah.
Which I assume C&H, they do all that same stuff, that Deere does on the financial side, or no? I don't.
It's mostly just machinery. I don't think they do anything.
Really? They don't get outside?
And there again, I'm not an expert by any means, so I'm not tied to either company. But I don't think you're going to run your seed corn or anything through C&H. Maybe you can. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never tried it, but.
Yeah. I don't know if you heard any new exciting products coming up in 22 out of Case IH or Deere, Fendt, or anybody. I haven't really kept up on much.
I haven't seen a whole lot of. Looks like everybody and their brother with a MIG welder is building a high-speed disc, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Close coupled high-speed. I mean, there's a million companies. Yep. I just saw 2 more that were being released the other day, and then somewhere in one of my feeds was a local welding shop that was coming out with one. Not local to us, but a regional welding shop that was coming out with one. Looks like everybody's got one of those now for whatever reason.
Yeah. In fact, I think when you go through the lot, I don't know that you even see a normal disc around here. You might see one that's got traded in, that was an old...
A true tandem or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. We don't see too many of them anymore. Everything's going, quote unquote, high speed.
Yeah. Yeah, they've made a zillion variants of that. A regular disc with notch blades on it. And, just everything.
Yeah. There's pluses and minuses to both of those. I'm not a discing guy, so I don't get super revved up on some of that, but I do appreciate the fact that they can go fast. And you can make the argument that you got to move dirt, laterally to do what you want to do, but that's nothing vertical about that.
No.
Terminology on that has gotten, was stroked pretty broad.
Yeah, it's pretty loose.
Oh, it's vertical. It's a disc.
Yeah.
If it looks like a disc and acts like a disc, it's a disc.
I will assure you sweep the dirt back and it's doing no fracturing. I'll guarantee you. It's tilling the top, whatever it is, 2-3 inches.
And that was probably, short-sighted on some companies, or I don't know who makes the rules on terminology on some of that, but some of that's about as vertical as,
Yeah. Some of these, and not all, because, there's numerous variants of this. Like the Salford, that's more of an independent coulter, I guess you could say.
That one is vertical, but.
But you get some of these that are, like you say, a disc, and these guys run them over corn stalks, and you can't even tell that they've ran them. That just don't turn me on in the least.
But they like them because they can go fast.
Right.
And it's relatively smooth, et cetera, et cetera. Like I said, I understand why the close coupled high-speed disc thing has become a trend, kind of, sort of. But some of that shit bleeds over from Europe. And what they're doing over there has no bearing on what I'm doing over here. My ancestors left there for a reason.
Yeah.
So the less shit I'm doing like they're doing, not to offend you Europeans if you're listening, but it's a different game.
Yeah, totally different.
We're in a different world, and I don't necessarily need to do what you're doing.
Yeah.
The main push for that, I think, is the fact that they're narrow.
Yeah.
They transport so much easier than a 50-foot disc. Farming's gotten big, so as equipment's gotten big, we're bound by how much can you get down the road. Mm-hmm. And I think the biggest seller for that stuff is the fact that it transports super easy.
Yeah.
I can put a 40-footer behind my pickup truck and pull it from my house to your farm, and not have much trouble.
Yeah, for sure. I'm getting to the point now where in the fall, instead of buying all these tools, it's like You just well run your mulch finisher in the fall. I mean, you're leaving the same seed bed behind it. I mean, these guys who run these things are working the top 2 or 3 inches. Well, field cultivator does that, and it's nice and smooth when you're done. Field cultivator does that too. It's like, well, why buy 9 different tools? You obviously can't do that on corn stalks, but I mean,
I have one. I have a good customer that's how he does it. And on the bean stubble, they run a mulch finisher every acre of bean stubble in the fall, and that was his point. He's like, I already got it. Mm-hmm. I give $100 and some $1,000 for it.
Yep.
I chisel with the one tractor. I field cultivate the rest. He's probably not wrong. I mean, it all depends on your area, right? Like, and that's the one thing. If I've learned anything from Farm Talk is like, and we've always kind of known this, but didn't know the scope of it. That farming is so different. 10 miles from here, 25 miles from here, 50 miles from here, 500 miles from here. Like, stuff is so regional. It's hard to find something that works everywhere.
Yeah.
And at some point in time, you just kind of got to cut your losses. Be like, this is kind of works for us. This is good enough for now. Let's roll.
Yeah. Around here, it really is a toss up if you even have to work bean stubble or not. Yeah. I mean, it really can go either way. It probably does dry a little quicker if you got some loose dirt, for the spring, but it's one of them deals. It's not one of them deals you absolutely have to.
And all that. One year we'd missed the corners, not the corners, but worked it at an angle, and there was little triangles here and there. Mm-hmm. Didn't put enough endrows in on the edge, and there was green patch, and it's like, oh well,
yeah,
that which actually was an inadvertent test we didn't plan on, but actually was like, oh, we should do that, especially if you got an early fall like this year where it was dry and warm. It wasn't dry, but it was warm, and all that stuff germinated, and if it ever gets cold, the frost will kill it,
right?
And it's like, well, that's that many less seeds that are going to give me trouble in the spring. But yeah, no, you're not wrong there. We always talk about how farming has changed so much over the years and this, that, and that. But you just think in our short time span, when I was a kid, a little kid, we dissed everything. Then we field cultivated it probably twice, planted it, and this is all late May, mm-hmm. And then no-till drills got popular. But it was still late May.
Yep.
So we no-till all our corn stalks, and that was neat and great. Other than filling up a 15-foot drill with a 5-gallon bucket of beans,
that's not fun.
Is a lot of work.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than Dad saying, "Hey, I'm going to need you to meet me here in 15 minutes." All right, we'll be over there, bucket at a time. And then it was okay. We're going to plant beans earlier, and we kind of did a little bit of the early bean thing a long time ago, but you didn't want to do so much, you're getting made fun of a lot because it wasn't super popular. And then the no-till thing kind of faded away because as you're planting earlier, well, now you're kind of forced drying it. Like I told my dad 4 or 5 years ago, I said, if we were still doing everything with a two-wheel drive tractor and a field cultivator, we'd still be farming in May.
Oh, yeah.
Late May, because you couldn't get through it in April.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't dry enough. Now, the last few years, if you didn't get it done in April, well, you weren't doing it in May because May was just wet.
Yep.
You were doing it in June or April. You had your pick. Take which one you want. But
we always get 2 windows, and that's when they are.
And that's when they are. It's changed a lot. Just in general. In our 20, 30 some years of farming, it's changed drastically on how you do stuff, and you try to keep up on the trends. But I don't necessarily want to be the leader in that, but I definitely don't want to be the follower.
Yeah,
you want to be somewhere in the middle, I guess. I don't mind being a leader in some of that. But some of that can be expensive too.
Yeah. Makes you wonder what some of these fads are. I mean, to me, it seemed like the no-till drill fad really came and left very quickly, which I think that all hit at the right time. Roundup Ready soybeans, whether people want to admit this or not, drove large-scale farming. Mm-hmm. You didn't have to cultivate anymore. You just planted it and away you went. And so I think that was sort of the start of the no-till drill phase. Well, that's when everybody started picking up more acres and getting bigger and bigger. And it's like, well, I'm not going to do this shit with a 20-foot drill no more. And they went to the bigger planters. So you went back to 15-inch rows or 30s or whatever.
Well, prior to that, you keep your own seed.
Right, exactly.
So having a drill and having a wagon that you're filling with a 5-gallon bucket wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
Because we got the seed, we took it to the elevator, they cleaned it for us, we'll dump it in. Yep. Hell, if we did a good job harvesting it, we didn't have to get it cleaned. We'll just put up with it a little bit, roll on. Well, then if we're paying tech fees and you can't replant it, all that kind of goes by the wayside. The trend gets pushed earlier. Like I said, we're going bigger on machinery. A 15-foot drill is great when they're new.
Right.
I mean, 80 acres is still a pretty good day with a 15-foot drill. You can get more than that, but you got to be humping it. Well, then when you have to rebuild it, they're not easy to work on. It's not, and then it never fails. And I don't understand this. Okay, you bought this brand new drill, and let's say you can get 4,000 acres to it before you ever have to change a bearing, whatever the number is. Then you rebuild it, and you get 1,500 to 2,000 on the second go round.
Yeah,
it's like, now damn it, I bought all those parts from the dealer, whatever, OEM. It's kind of like batteries. Battery that comes in your pickup truck or your tractor will last 7 years.
Yep.
The one you replace it with, if you get 3 out of it, chalk it up, pat yourself on the back, and go to have a great day.
Yep.
Supposedly it all comes down the same line, but it never lasts.
No, I think tires are the same way too.
Tires are the same way. Yep. Original OEM tires that come on a vehicle will outlast your next set every time. You can buy the same model again. It won't happen.
Yeah, I don't know why that is, because I'm like you.
I don't know why it is, but you see how many tractors got 2,500, 3,000 hours on them, got original tires, pretty good shape yet. You buy a new set, I got 2,000 hours. It's time for a new set.
Yep. Yeah, don't ask me.
It's like, do they have 2 lines for this, or is it just the way it works, or what's going on? But and part of what drove that is 15-inch beans were getting, not 15-inch, but when the drill thing come out, we're going narrow beans, and they're hard to work on, and then the 15-inch trend kind of comes out, and that kills that off pretty quick. And then white mold comes out, and then we're back to 30s. But then we got to plant them early, so we bought a second planter. So now we're kind of back to 15s in our region. We'll say, I still like narrow beans. We're on 15s now. I'd rather be on 10s or 7.5s. I just can't find a great way to plant them that way.
Right. And that's what we was talking the other day. You remember back when Roundup was hot and heavy, and I'm going to say it was around 1998 to 2000-ish, and it was right in its thick of it coming out, Remember how you just went and planted beans in the nastiest, weediest mess?
Yep.
And you waited till the beans were almost chest high.
Yep, blow in there with some Roundup.
All the weeds were just sticking clear out of the beans, fried them, and away you went.
Yep, just hosed it down and went on.
One pass and used it.
And then all it took was a couple guys like, 32 ounces of Roundup killed that dead. I wonder what 28 would do. Oh, I'm down to 20. Oh, I can barely touch it with some Roundup. Oh, shit, now we get Roundup resistant. I'm not killing shit,
And I'm farming more acres, so, man, I'm going to cut this from 20 gallons an acre down to 12.
Yeah. I can go all day if I do this. And, it's funny how that stuff works. And
it's sad that got ruined because, man, that was slick when it worked.
It was.
We'll probably never see anything like that again. Because, was about, you didn't do any pre's, you didn't do nothing. You planted the beans, you sprayed it one time, and that was it.
You plant them through that yellow mustard. That drill would go right through that shit, didn't care.
Yep.
It was vertical tillage.
Yeah, it was.
We'll just blow right through that. I had numerous guys tell me, hey, it would be perfect if you work my field with that drill. We talked about that for years before we started selling Salford stuff, about just doing a 3-point bar with no-till coulters on it, just to run through the field, just to fluff it that little bit.
Yep.
Now, in retrospect, it needs to be more than that, but at the time, the drill would have been, change the openers and all that shit, so on and so forth. But that's eventually what we came back to.
It is.
Kind of, sort of, running a VT tool of some fashion through there so you can blow in there and plant beans. The only difference is we need to start killing more weeds off.
Right.
Because you can't, when we were kids, what's the chemical that kills stuff before you're out of the field? I can't think. It's a burn down. I can't think of it. I love it. We still use it to this day occasionally.
Like paraquat and different stuff.
Not paraquat, it's
gramoxone.
Gramoxone.
Yep.
Gramoxone. Back in the day, Roundup wasn't quite that good, but it wasn't far from it.
Right, it was close. There wasn't much Roundup wouldn't kill when it was strong.
When it was new. I love Gramoxone. Still to this day, it's like, I started spraying this 80 and the other half's dead before I got to the other side. That's what I'm looking to see.
Yeah, you get them hot, humid days, and boy, that stuff just...
Yeah. Especially that yellow mustard, which is, some places probably don't have that, but around here we've got, we call it yellow top, yellow mustard. I don't know what the technical name is.
It's a hollow stalk about an inch in diameter, roughly, and it's hollow, but it just...
Yeah, it's got a yellow flower on the top of it, and it makes a mess.
And the fields look neat because they get about, between waist and chest high and just solid.
As pretty as can be if you haven't done anything about it or with it. But you just blow in there with a drill, and chew through that, spray it down, you're good to go.
But it's funny, though. Have you ever thought about some of the weeds that, we basically, like these weeds that are gone. So like milkweed, it vanished, which is partially what killed the monarch butterflies, whether people want to admit that or not. Jimson weed, never see that stuff. When you get to thinking about some of these weeds that we had when we were kids that you never see anymore.
Yeah, that's true. We don't have near the problems with foxtail we used to have, really. There was a few years in there. Well, we still get it once in a while. Purple hen bit.
Yep.
And we used to get some sort of viney deal that was always a pain, but it came on later in the season usually. If your chemical went away or whatever. But yeah, that's a good point. We don't fight that near
like in the field. You never see like a Canadian thistle in a field. Yeah. You'll see it in a pasture, but you never see it in a field.
I remember, and you'll remember this too, probably when our high school bought the ground next to them, and it laid idle for a year or two. That thing was full of milkweed, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, really?
Just full of it next to the playground.
Yeah, I forgot. About that.
Like I said, you hardly ever see that anymore. No. It's just
you got to look hard in a road ditch to find milkweed. Which now that they've not done away with, but shifted a lot of these acres from CRP into pollinator, they actually have you plant milkweed now. Really? They figured out that CRP was basically good for nothing. They didn't have flowers or nothing. So now when they're making people plant flowers and what have you, you're kind of getting some of them insects.
Well, I think Agent Orange killed a lot of that.
Yeah, I think it did. Yeah.
For those of you that know, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, you have to look it up. But
yeah. Yep. We was talking too the other day, meeting with some of our suppliers on getting stuff. I would venture to say now that there's probably 3 to 4 times more farmers that have their own sprayer now than there was 20 years ago. But it's like, you guys haven't got any slower. You're busier now than you ever was. But there's more passes now. Now you got fungicide, you got your burn down, your pre-plant, or your post, your 2 post applications. And so it just.
No, you're exactly right there. I mean, back when my dad was a young man or a kid, they sprayed, and then they didn't spray for years. They hired it done for years. Local ag retailers, co-ops, whatever. And then, we got back into it. Gosh, probably been 15 years ago now. But you're right. I mean, every day somebody's switching from that to a sprayer, but the retailers, they're never getting ahead. Of course, and better than I do because you worked at one, but it's like, it's getting harder and harder and harder to find guys that are willing, and that's not an old man's game.
No, it's not.
You don't want to do that into your 60s.
I think every supplier that I've talked to in the last 2 weeks is everybody's quit. I mean, there's like nobody. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do, and I'm not blaming them, guys. Like you say, if I was married with kids, ain't no way I'd want to do that job. I mean,
COVID has been a mess, but if there's a positive to it, if I was a young man, especially fresh out of high school, fresh out of college, whatever. Like the sky's the limit. Like
you
got your choice of any job you want to do.
Yeah.
Like you don't necessarily have to have the education for it. You don't have to have the skill set for it. If you're willing to clock in and show up, you can damn near be CEO of a company.
Yeah.
Like, because they can't find anybody.
Right.
It doesn't matter what it is. Every company I talk to, every supplier I talk to is like, well, we wasted our money putting a help wanted sign out. That didn't get us anybody.
Yeah.
We try to get people off the internet. That didn't get us anybody. Like we've doubled our wages. That didn't get us anybody. Like we can't find anybody to do anything. It doesn't matter if it's packing boxes or spraying fields, building machinery, whatever.
Yep.
You just can't find anybody.
Granted, there's always going to be everything costs twice as much nowadays too, but throw that out of the equation. If I was 20 years old, still lived at home, and didn't have to have an $80,000 pickup to show off to my friends, just had a $10,000 truck that was paid for, you could go out now and start out anywhere you wanted and make between $20 and $25 an hour, no problem.
Yes.
And like you say, the sky's the limit. If you're willing to work overtime, you could knock down $50,000 a year, no problem at 20 years old.
I don't know what to scale it to, for inflation, et cetera, but, the equivalent of a $25 an hour job when we got out of school, I don't know what that number is, but there wasn't very many of them.
No.
Just for random local stuff.
Right. Those, your $25 an hour, that was your skilled laborers at Caterpillar.
Yeah. Now you can make that or more doing a lot of different things that probably aren't $30 to $40 an hour jobs.
Right.
But they can't find anybody to do it, so they're paying it.
If you was a young kid still living with mom and dad, wasn't living high on the hog, man, you could rack up some big time bucks if you wanted.
Yes, you could.
Yeah, I mean, it would be like getting a 15-year head start. Yeah. I mean, it really would.
Well, how many companies do you know that we've got a buddy that works at company XYZ, and he's maxed out. It's a sideline job for him. He farms, but he's maxed out at, we'll call it $20, whatever, just for easy math. Well, then they can't find anybody, so they're hiring people on at max salary. And, and the guys that have been working there are like, now, gosh darn it, we've been working here for 10 years to get to that $20. Now you're hiring people at that. Where's our piece of the pie? So it kind of goes both ways, but it's like, it's pretty lucrative for a young guy looking to get into some of that. they can make pretty good money doing it.
Yep. Yeah, as long as they would keep their expenses in check and not have to have an $80,000, the nice trucks when we were kids was 20 to 25,000. Now they're 60 to 80.
And they weren't even that. Of course, back then you could buy a cool 79 Ford that wasn't beat to shit.
Sure.
Or, mid 80s Ford, 90s Ford, whatever. Because it doesn't matter what you buy in a Chevy, it's still a pile of shit. But, and fix it up, do a little something to it. It's like, no, I look back, it's like, cripes, my wife got a couple of door dings in her car the other day, got it priced out. I'm like, cripes, I had a whole truck painted for less than that.
Yeah, exactly.
She went to Walmart.
Yeah.
Got two dings. I'm like, it costs more to fix that than it did to paint my whole truck.
Yeah. Well, me and the wife both being self-employed now, our health insurance alone, just for the two of us, $10,000 a year.
Tell me all about it, bud. I know all about it. And it's, that is a shitstorm of epic proportions.
Yeah, well, this is the Affordable Care Act.
It did everything but make it affordable.
Yeah, exactly.
And get you care. If you didn't want health care and you didn't want it affordable, that's the plan for you.
Right.
But now you've got no choice. There are no options.
Yeah.
I just went through this with my insurance guy the other day. It's just, if your income goes up, well, then you're double screwed.
Yep.
Super handy. Love that.
Yeah. Yeah, they've screwed her up good this time.
Yeah. Yeah. Big thanks goes out to, we're not going to go down the political path. Never mind.
But, man, when you stop and think about it, what's a company like John Deere? What are they paying just for health insurance alone?
When the 8400s or the 8000 series Deere came out, to my understanding, health care for the workers that put it together was the most expensive part of that tractor. Now, think about that. That was 1993, if I remember.
Yeah.
Now, what's health care costs done since then?
Yeah, they ain't went down.
They haven't went down. So, you want to know why a new tractor is $350,000? How much of that per tractor is health care for the workers? Probably $50,000 or better.
Yeah. Yeah, because look at me and my wife. I'm 41. She's 37.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're old and crippled and, pretty high risk. $10,000. And that's for, not a Cadillac policy. It's not shit, but it's not Cadillac.
It's not great, yeah.
Kind of the middle of the road. So.
I don't know what a new 8000 series Deere cost back then, but...
180,000 maybe. I don't know. Would it have been that much?
Probably wasn't that high.
Yeah.
I bet it wasn't that high.
Probably not.
My guess is 100 to 120. I don't know that. I have to look it up, but somewhere in there, it's like that costs more than the engine. That costs more than the tires. That costs more than the transmission. Any single piece, that was higher than, and it's like that cost has had to go, 5 times higher than what it was then?
Yeah, and follow that all the way down. So that's the Deere factory in Moline or Waterloo where, pick your poison. And then look at Tom Sloan with Sloan Implement with 24 stores, whatever he's got.
Yeah.
What's his health insurance cost him for his employees?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm sure that's probably not cheap, when you got guys.
Everything they sell from January to June went to that.
Yeah.
And then we got July on to try to make a profit.
Yeah, exactly.
If you want to break it down into those terms.
Right.
And, that makes it rough. Ford, Chevy, Dodge, all in the same boat. Those giant union contracts. Look at the contract Deere just signed. You can't tell me their equipment isn't going to go up.
Well, exactly. They ain't going to eat that.
It's going to have to.
Yeah.
Here was the avenue I wanted to take on that. Okay, well, you say we made too much money. Okay, it was more than $1 billion. Let's just say it was $1 billion. Okay. So by that rationale, if that's the problem, well, we're just going to lower the price of our machinery 25%, and then we'll be good.
Right, yeah.
We'll make less money. You guys will be happy then, right?
Right.
Oh, no. We want more money. Well, now make up your mind.
Right.
A minute ago, we made too much profit. So if we lower the cost of our stuff, or, the selling price, well, then we should be good. We just won't make as much. You guys will still be having a really good job compared to everybody else. Yep. We're all good, right? Oh, no. We want you to keep the machinery up. We want you to raise the price. Mm-hmm. We want it paid more.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I'm not going to go down the anti-union path because I'm not necessarily anti-union. What I am anti-union on is their goal, or it's not their goal now. They were supposed to provide a superior workforce, better educated, better skilled, better policed, a superior workforce. What they ended up being was protecting their police force for shitbags.
Yeah, exactly.
We got this guy, he keeps showing up to work drunk, but we can't get rid of him. We got this guy keeps missing work, but we can't get rid of him. We keep protecting the shitbags. We don't reward the people that are actually showing up doing their stuff. And there are thousands of high quality union employees.
Sure.
I'm not knocking them. They're doing a great job. But you can go to any company, you can talk to any one of them guys, and they can name you off 5 of their coworkers that should have been fired 5 years ago if they'll tell you the honest to God truth. Mm-hmm. They won't. Well, some of them will. Most of them will. But if you could weed those guys out and they could provide that superior workforce, an efficient workforce, then I'm happy to pay them the contracts that they're asking for, right, even above and beyond that.
Right.
If you get rid of the low-hanging fruit, if I go upstairs to your house right now, I'll hire all 3 of your kids to do whatever job, but I pay them the same for the next 2 days to do it. Chances are Henry's going to get more work done than your youngest daughter.
Right.
If it's a physical task.
Sure.
Whatever it is, because she's small, she's young, or whatever. So at the end of those 2 days, if I say, well, I'm going to give you all a raise, and I give them all the same raise, one's going to be mad, one's going to be okay with it, and the other one's happy as can be because she didn't do as much,
yeah,
and it's getting more.
Same. Yeah.
And it's on a grander scale in the union thing, and I'm not picking on your kids by any means. My kids be the same way. But I guess that's where I'm at on that. They have lost focus on what they were supposed to do.
Right, and to me, it's the waste. You remember years ago, you had said, and I remember now where it come from, but there was a recall on corn heads.
Yeah.
Had a union guy working beside the non-union guy.
Yep. Can't use used hardware, so they had to throw all their bolts away on their half of it. Yeah. Never been in the field. Been tightened up once. I'm like, it's holding a plastic shield on. Like, really, has the bolt went bad? No, it hasn't went bad. But just little things like that.
And that adds up because, once again, who pays for that?
Who pays for that? The consumer. We used to have a construction company in Mattoon there that built pavers, et cetera, et cetera. They would not get their stuff done correctly sometimes, so they'd have all these dead machines, we'll call them, not unfinished, I forget what their term is. So they would haul them across town, so technically they'd left, and they'd bring them back in after the first month, try to rush them through again, fix all the stuff on them or whatnot. So they met their quota for the month, even though they weren't really done right. Needless to say, that company's not there anymore.
Exactly.
Stuff like that is frustrating. And there is a ton of waste, and you can't micromanage everything, but eventually those big union companies always turn into extensions of a government entity.
Yeah.
They always end up getting ran that way.
Yep.
If I'm a mom and pop business of, 50 employees, I can keep pretty close tabs on what's going on, so on and so forth. When you get to the scale that they are, there just is so much waste.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's mind boggling.
Yeah. What Deere, Case, Agco, whoever throws away in a year, you and I wouldn't have to work.
Oh, no.
And that's just the good parts that got thrown away for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Just for something silly.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I don't know it. And then you always got to throw in the union boss who doesn't even work for the company. He works for the union.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Making a huge salary.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't understand how it works. This day and age, you got OSHA, you got so many government entities on top of you. It's not like a company is going to necessarily get over on you and treat you like dirt like they did 100 years ago, because they really did,
Well, for sure. The unions for sure had their place, and they still have a place. Like, classic example. Back in the day at Yellow Freight. I don't know if it's still this way, but at one point in time, it was this way at Yellow Freight. Okay. If you're working on a truck and some oil spilled, as a mechanic, you couldn't clean that up. You had to wait for somebody to clean that up. Now, if they didn't show up till the end of the shift, you just stood there. You couldn't go any further because you couldn't work on the oil, and you weren't allowed to clean it up. So you might stand there for 7 hours.
Yeah.
Waiting for somebody, because that was their job, to come clean up the oil when you clearly could have thrown floor dry down on it, picked it up with a shovel and got it out of the way.
Yep.
Just stuff like that.
Well, I've heard that at places like Louisville and that at the farm show, you got guys that plug in extension cords. That's his job, and you're setting up your booth. Yeah. You don't touch it. And to me, it's like, I'd rather pay this yin-yang. I'll give you $100 under the table. Just leave me alone. I can get this shit done way faster than waiting on you guys. So here's $100. Go sit in your car and smoke cigarettes. Seriously, it's such a waste of time.
I know I've talked to different people over the years that set up at a variety of shows. And I don't think Louisville's super bad about it, but I think there's definitely ones that are, depending on the facility, not necessarily farm shows, just shows in general. And like you said, if you want to hang a banner, nope, we got a guy for that. And when he gets to you, he gets to you. And it might be before the show, it might be after. But when he gets to you, he'll hang it up, and it's, it costs whatever. And, some of that stuff's frustrating. And I get why it's that way initially. But it always grows.
They take it too far.
They always take it too far. They always take it too far. You know, it's like every government program. They start off with great intentions. You can't roll them back, and they always grow into something that's not worth a shit.
Yeah. I just can't get over the amount of time that gets wasted. I just can't roll that away. I can't. I could never work for an outfit like that. It just it wouldn't work.
Yeah. You know, another Yellow Freight example is you're only allowed to work back in the day, and I'm not picking on Yellow Freight because I'm sure there's a million union companies this way. You can only work on 2 or 3 trucks a day. So if, I forget what the number was. So let's say the first 3 trucks come in, they need a light bulb changed. You're done.
No kidding.
Done for the day. Same way on construction sites, you know, you can only run so many machines. So if a backhoe is parked in your way, but you're a track hoe operator, you move the backhoe, you're done for the day.
Yeah.
You've ran your 2 machines.
Yeah.
You're good. You just go sit in the truck. You know?
And you know, all that ends up, if you go back to the truck deal, you can only work on 3 trucks a day. To me, that sounds like we create a backlog so you can never be laid off. Because if you hurry up and get them all done, they're like, well, we don't really need 20 people here. We're going to have to let you go.
Yeah.
But as long as we just do it slow enough that we create this huge backlog, then you're always going to have a job.
We're always busy.
Yep.
We're always busy.
So shifting gears a little bit off of the union deal, what do you think? So like I'm in a predicament now where I'm getting ready to buy a bunch of machinery from the guy that I farm for or whatever. And we were talking today, just, you know, throwing out ideas, not saying it's going to happen anytime soon, but at what point in time does our generation get to, okay, I'm going to have to lay it out like this. So let's just say his combine right now is worth $250,000. I have no idea what it's worth. We're just going to use that as a number. So that's what I buy it for, with the intention, you know, a guy like me getting started, I'm going to have to run it for 10 years or whatever.
Yeah.
Where does guys my age and with the direction things are headed, where do we hit the peak? Because we know all this electric stuff's coming and things are getting ready to have a very fast change, I think. So it's like, how far into this do you buy $1 million worth of machinery, and then in 7, 8, 9 years, it's like some of this is becoming obsolete because they're wanting to shift it to electric, and so you don't get your money back out of it because nobody wants it. You can't run it because of regulation. I don't know. I mean,
the regulation thing you can't foresee. That could go a number of different ways. And I'm far from an expert on that. I know how I want it to go, and that's the electrical stuff can stay unplugged and go on about its merry way. But the combine thing's always tough anyway, on when do you trade, how do you trade, you know, et cetera, et cetera. I honestly think in my heart of hearts that the electric thing's going to be short-lived.
You think so?
It's not really feasible. If tomorrow everybody that you know in a 5 square mile radius of here had all electrical stuff, okay, we all plug in, what happens? Power grid fails, and we're just pretty much sitting in the dark. You take Mayfield, Kentucky. They just had tornadoes come through there. Let's say everything down there was electric. EVs, chainsaws, the whole 9 yards. What are they going to plug into?
Yeah,
nothing. Not a goddamn thing, because they ain't got nothing to plug into. Mm-hmm. They can start a gas chainsaw because the gas station's still going.
Right.
They still got gas in the tank, gas in their jug. They can go. And I realize this stuff trends over time, but I really think the electrical thing will come full circle, and I think it'll come full circle fast. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I am far from an expert. And part of that is me being hopeful in the fact that I love the internal combustion engine, and it's got us by this long. So I'm pretty well cool with it.
Yeah.
But
is there anywhere else in the world? So I can maybe understand electric vehicles, that's still not feasible. And I'm talking cars and trucks.
Yeah.
Still isn't feasible for us because we got to travel such long distances, which ain't nothing.
Inner city life.
Right.
I can totally see it.
Right.
Some of those people if they drive 120 miles in 2 months, that would be, they took a trip.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, if they're downtown Chicago, they're not going anywhere further than that, and it could work for them.
Yeah. So is there anywhere in the world that is using large industrial machinery that's electric, you know, whether it's a coal mine or a...
No, because nobody else is dumb enough to regulate themselves into that. The problem with the United States is we're wealthy enough as a population that we can regulate stupidity. Mm-hmm. We regulate ourselves into stupidity, I guess is what I meant to say. And we try to push ourselves in these directions that, we're going to save the world. We're going to save the world. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We ain't saving shit. Yeah. China ain't switching anything to electric. They're buying coal as fast as they can buy it. They're building coal power plants as fast as they can build them. And they're putting it all online so they can sell us electric shit to power our electric vehicles going forward. And that's the long and the short of it. It doesn't matter what industry it is. You know, you want to go solar. Oh, that's great. How many solar panel plants do you know of in the United States? To my knowledge, there's 0.
Yeah, same here.
Can't build them here. regulations, etc. And it just starts, as a society has enough income, I guess, is the word for it, we do dumb shit.
Yeah, I agree. And
poor people don't do stupid shit like that.
No, exactly.
They don't have the ability to do it.
You get from point A to point B, whatever it takes. It don't matter.
Yes.
That's just the way it is. And I've always said, a lot of people talk about, these companies move overseas because the labor's cheaper and this and that, which it is. Don't get me wrong. But I think they're tired of dealing with the regulations, the health care that we just talked about, all this other stupid shit.
Now, I don't want to be dumping shit in the water. Or I don't want to be polluting this, that, and the other. But there is a happy medium in there where you can produce something efficiently, effectively, somewhat cleanly, at a price that people can afford.
Yeah,
but we are well beyond that now.
Because to me, we're always moving the goalpost. Because if we're going to go to this 100% green energy that's clean, that's what they're telling us, right? Clean energy. Mm-hmm. Okay, then we should get rid of the EPA, right? Because everything here is clean now. We don't need the EPA.
We don't need them.
What's there to protect? I mean, it's all clean. So fire everybody in the EPA. I mean, I don't know how else to go about this.
All that clean stuff sounds well, good and great. It never works out in the long run. Look at the windmills. Oh, they're going to produce all this energy. They don't produce shit.
Where'd we put the windmills? Right in Tornado Alley.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, because the wind blows there. Oh, it's getting windy out. We got to shut them off. Mm-hmm. Oh, we didn't think of this. We've got no way to get rid of them. And they're full of oil, because turns out they can't run without oil. They're as green as a red tractor.
Exactly.
I mean, they're not that green. Just it's frustrating for me and everybody else as far as that goes. Like I said, we take an average pickup truck, take an average diesel pickup truck. Okay, they don't get a damn bit better mileage than they did in 1983 when Ford come out with them. Probably worse. Mm-hmm. They got way more horsepower, and they got a whole bunch of creature comforts on them, and that's all well, good, and great. I like them too. And we tack all this emission shit on them. That's why pickup trucks are $80,000 now.
Yep.
Wasn't that long ago, you could buy any house that we knew of that anybody lived in for $80,000.
Oh, for sure. First house I bought was $32,000 when we first got married.
Yes, exactly.
And it wasn't a dump. I mean,
you can't buy a 97 low mild Power Stroke for that now. If it's low mild, it'd be a rarity, but you darn sure can't buy the last 7.3 that was, had 2,000 miles on it sitting in somebody's garage for that.
And to me, what does that tell you? That tells me that that's what the people want. That's why when did you ever buy a vehicle for $20,000, run it for 15 years, and you sell it for 30 on a vehicle? Never.
Exactly.
So that tells me that that's what people are wanting. They don't want the emissions.
All that emissions crap. I mean, you got mufflers that cost $7,000 or exhaust systems, whatever it is. Well, it's no wonder this shit, and you can't keep it in the field. How many guys you talk to? Well, I got this electrical glitch. I got an emissions code. I got this, and we're kind of getting down the same path we've been on a few times. But in the grand scheme of things, green energy, and there again, I'm not an expert on it, but from what I've seen, the experts aren't experts on it either. If you figure up the number of factories that are producing these sensors and parts and all this bullshit that goes along with green energy, and the fact that they don't get any mileage, and you add all that up, we are net negative to green energy. We have been far better served to focus on mileage and horsepower, and the emissions thing would have kind of taken care of itself. Nope, we've focused all on this emission shit. Now we got stuff that won't run long enough. Oh, I've got a $250,000 combine that threw an air code, and my ass is setting. My neighbor's got a 7,700 John Deere. He's still going back and forth. Mm-hmm. How efficient is that? Well, we're next day airing some 2-bit sensor that costs $500 that's got about 13 cents in it from Bangalore, India, over here so we can freaking get this combine back going. Yeah, that's super efficient. That's a really good way, good use of energy.
We were talking, out of all the DEF stuff that our local dealer has sold, the mechanics have wasted more fuel running back and forth working on the shit than it ever saved to what went in the atmosphere. That is all they work on now is DEF stuff. That's it.
On that note, can we get an update on the ozone?
Yeah,
because when we were kids, the ozone layer had this huge hole in it, and we're all going to die.
Don't hear nothing.
Yeah, here I am. The hole's apparently fixed itself. Now we got global warming because the shit can't get out.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, we need to go out and start everything you own up right now. Let it run.
I agree.
Pollute the shit out of it. blow a hole in the ozone again so the shit can get out. Because I think we're apparently we have created another issue.
Yeah.
The shit can't get away.
I want a definitive answer. And you and I always argue with local people, like when it comes to taxes. We always got to help the school. We can never give the schools, well, just give me a number and I'll write you a check now. And then you never ask for another dime.
Yep.
Well, I want the same thing on global warming. I want the point of no return. You tell me what it is, and then at what year the Earth is going to burst into flames.
Yeah.
But it's always 50 years from now, 50 years from now, 50 years. It's never next week or no. It's always 50 years out, the next generation.
Yeah, we got to make this change or we're going to regret it. We're going to regret it.
Yep.
You know who's not regretting it? The people that were on the forefront of pushing that bullshit agenda like Al Gore.
Exactly.
That are multi-millionaires now off selling a bag of shit.
Yep, that's all it is.
Yeah.
Because you think China gives two shits about cleaning up their environment, you're dead wrong.
The only time they've shut their shit down was for the Olympics.
Exactly.
Just long enough for people to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want it to get to that point.
No, I don't either. I mean,
but there's a happy medium in there where industry prevails profitably. Shit doesn't cost an arm and a leg.
Yep.
And life goes on.
Yeah, they've screwed her up good this time.
What comes down to a bunch of that shit on science is, Tony, they got no belief in God.
Right.
So they think they're in control, not the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and they think they're going to make all these decisions that are going to take care of all that. I got to think God made us smart enough to take care of ourselves on some of that, and he's going to regulate some of that himself.
Yeah, I think so too.
What happens when all these acres and acres and acres get taken out of corn that harvests carbon?
Right. They claim it's better than the Amazon rainforest.
Exactly. And now we turn them into solar fields where they got a little bit of grass growing up them, where we didn't spray around them. And what are they harvesting? Nothing. Yeah, it's a sad state of affairs. And I don't know. It's out of control. And there's no fixing it. I don't care what anybody says. I think we've reached the point of no return. I mean, you see it on TikTok. You see it in the comments. I mean, the Iowa dairy farmer can have on their milking cows, and just gets raked over the coals by these people that just think he's just abusing animals, and everybody wants milk for their cereal, but they don't want any cows being milked. Yeah. Well, make up your mind. Which way do you want it?
Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
Organic and green is great. That's a small niche market. It's not widespread. If it was widespread,
everybody'd be doing it.
We'd be hungry as shit, and everybody'd be doing it if it was the way to go. You're going to regulate that into profitability. That's never happened in the history of the world. It's not going to happen now.
No, you're right. It's not going to happen. And I'm just sick of the hypocrites that tell you and I, we got to do this, this, and this, but they fly all over the world on their jet. And they can do this.
There's no emissions on those.
Yeah.
And they're putting it right up there in the jet stream.
Yeah.
But you never hear anything about that. Oh, they could have taken a commercial flight, but they didn't. There were seats available, but they had their private jet, and they flew over there anyway.
How many nuclear bombs has our government detonated? Out in Alamogordo and just the test sites that's probably where half the cancer comes from nowadays anyway,
Yeah.
And they're going to tell us about polluting.
I mean, God tried to regulate apples back in the day in the Garden of Eden, and it didn't work.
Yeah. That's right.
I got one fruit, which I realize there's a debate on whether or not it was an apple. You get my point. We don't eat those. Everything else is good. We're all green.
Yep.
We're all good. Nope. Couldn't handle the one rule we gave you.
Yep.
So apparently we're incapable of it. Let's just move on.
Yeah. Well, I think we've about come full circle like always on this one. I think we better cut her off here. And
from the Garden of Eden to the farm show.
Yep. I think we did. I think we've covered it all pretty well. So, you got anything you want to add? Are we good?
I think we're good on this one. I think we're good.
Okay.
Glad to be back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's been a while, and hopefully there won't be a drought this long again. I think we can compile stuff this winter here.
Yeah, I think we'll be all right.
Keep things moving. So with that being said, we're going to cut her off here. So thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next time.